let's see. All right. Okay. So I want to be sure if you can see my screen. Let me know in the chat. Can you see my screen? So let me move the charts to a different screen. Okay. All right. So yes, you can see my screen from James, Shakirat, and Precious. Yeah, sorry if I don't, pronounce your name well. Apologies for that. Okay, so this is the Miro app. I think what I will do is to show you how we can get this app first, how we can download this app. Of course, I've explained this in the past, right? So basically the website is miro.com. I think someone can share this in the Discord room. So the website is simply miro.com, and if you can't see this well, I would zoom in. So miro.com, right? And all you have to do is create an account, right? So you visit this website for the first time, you create an account, and I'm sure you know what the app is used for, but I'm also going to go back to the landing page. Okay, so someone is saying we have the link already in Discord. Okay, all right. So Miro is basically a collaboration tool. As you can see, it's an online collaborative whiteboard platform to bring teams together anytime, anywhere. So it's simply, you can use it just like you use a FigJam, right? But it has it's more robust in the sense that it was actually built, primarily for collaboration, and it has a lot of features that I think more recently FigJam are also adding those features on their own application, but this is one of the main tools we use when coming up with things like user flows and all that, and we've been using this tool for quite some time, and yeah, we're going to be talking about how to use this tool today. I'm going to take a lot of I'm going to take like I'm going to give a general overview, then we would also, get to use some of the tools, one after the other. So you can check out the website, you can see some of the things you can use this for brainstorming, for diagramming, for meetings and workshops, for, having Scrum events. Scrum events is basically, like brainstorming, but now you're focusing more on, the product at hand, or probably the task at hand. You're trying to come up with an implementation, and then you are collaborating and thinking of the best processes, and coming up with like your Kanban map where you put in the different tasks belonging to different people and the deliverables, the time to deliver on those products. Yeah, so we also have mapping, research and design, and also for coming up with strategic planning. So basically we have a bunch of templates, right? This application has a bunch of templates that you can work with. Yeah, so just, I think the website has like explained basically everything you can do with the application. So the next thing you would want to do is to go ahead and sign up, right? Create an account. So you click on sign up, and you put in these details, right? So you put in your name, your email, and the password. You agree to the terms. If you want to receive updates, you go ahead and select this option as well, and then you sign up. Or you can choose to make it easier for you. You can sign up with Google, right? Or you can sign up with these other options. You have Slack, Microsoft. I think, yeah, this is Office 365, I believe. Then the Apple, you can sign up using an Apple ID or your Facebook, your social media handle as well, Facebook. Okay, so by default, these are the things you have for free. 3 editable boards. You have, the core integrations, unlimited team members, templates, and the basic attention management. Okay, so I think, yeah, these are the free things you can use when you are working with a free account, basically. So you can always upgrade, right? But for our class, I think this is what we're working with. My account is basically a free account. But yeah, if you are working on large scale projects, then you might also want to pay for the pro account or for the premium account. So I am going to sign in. I already have an account and I'm already signed in on the desktop application. So we also have a desktop application, and yeah, so for the desktop application, I think you can download the desktop application, and I keep okay. So let's see. Yeah, so most times what I do is I search, but I'm very sure we should have that on the Miro for devices. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to click on this. All right, and yeah, you can download, the mobile. You can download the mobile app, right? You can download the desktop app. I am currently using the desktop app for Intel Macs. Yeah, but this is what makes this really amazing, right? The fact that you can also have an app running on, your Android, iOS, or even your tablets, and you can collaborate basically without having to use your laptop or without having to visit the website, right? So I think this is great. And you can also download this for interactive displays. Okay, so let's assume you've downloaded this, for your Windows machine or for the Mac. I don't think they have a version for Linux operating systems yet, but of course there are multiple ways to, have some of these apps run on a Linux machine if you're using a Linux machine. But I believe most of you should be using Intel, MacBooks or Windows operating systems. Okay, so once you have this downloaded, I'll go ahead and close this tab. And let's move on to the desktop application. So you open this for the first time. This is what you would see. Basically, I have multiple workspaces here, right? So I have some workspaces I've created here. And let's just go ahead and talk about a quick overview. What do we have here? You see, I have multiple boards, right, that I've created, and some of them I only have view only permission because most of them were shared with me. So all I had to do was see what that person wanted me to see. I could not edit those files, yeah. So so the first thing we have here, you can see you have the recent boards, and this would show you some of the recent boards you've attended to. I will show you some of the complex things we've done with this and some basic things you can also do. So I would open up some of these items for you to see. Then I also have like the start board. Okay. All right. So and currently I have like a team account, right? So you see I have 7 users in this team. Yeah, so this is basically the details you have here are basically tied to that particular team that you're trying to or that you are assessing. You can check your team profile. You can see the users on this team. You can see the list of apps and integrations that you've added to your account. And what this means is that you can actually integrate like Slack or some other tools, so that when things are happening here, you can basically get notification. You can integrate Google Images. You see we have chats, icon finder, and of course, you can install more apps, right? You can click on this and install more apps. After clicking on that, it took me down to the web. So I'm going to bring that here again. Okay, so you see, clicking on that link brought me down to this page, right? So I can actually install, Google Meet extension, Jira extension for those of you that will be using Jira for project management, basically. We have the Figma plugin as well. We have for Teams, we have for Slack, Asana. Asana is also, like Trello for task management. You have Airtable. So I believe some of these tools you see for Zoom, right? And when you integrate these tools into Miro, it makes it easier for you to perform some kind of operations. Like you're trying to schedule a meeting on Zoom. You can easily do that directly through the app integration that you've done. So I believe you understand that. If you have any question, I'm also looking at the chat. So go ahead and drop those questions in the chat. Yeah, so you can see your users. I don't want to click on some of this because of course you see I have to upgrade this account before we can attend to some of these options here. So, but of course you can create multiple teams. You see I have multiple teams here, and I would go back to the board. Okay, so I can invite a member, right? I can invite a member. For now, I don't think I can do that because I have to upgrade. But you also have like a learning center. By clicking on this, you see we have kind of like getting started. Detail. You can click on this. It's kind of like a tutorial, right? So to walk you through how to perform some of these some of these things here, like, the content creation, collaboration, it will explain some of the various parts to you when you also click on this. And these are just, step-by-step tutorials. So this is in 4 steps, 5 steps. So this is basically the learning center. And of course, you can also search for resources. Okay, so you have your notification, you have notification here. If something happens and you're not available, of course, you have a notification to show you, what has happened, basically similar to what you have on Figma. And you can also, you have a filter option, you can filter to see, okay, the boards that are owned by me, right? And, the boards that are not owned by me. Yeah, and you can also see the boards owned by everybody, basically, okay? So you can change the view, this is currently displayed in grids, you can change it to lists. So this is just, various things you can do here. And the next thing I would want to do is, yeah, you can create a new team, right? With the plus icon you have here. And of course, you can also create a new file. So let us do this. I'm going to come back to, let's go down to top skill. And I just have 3 items here, and I doubt if I can create more. So of course, it's asking me to upgrade. So what I'm going to do is to probably delete one. I'm very sure that I don't need everything here. So, okay, so basically this is just, I use this to design a bunch of API services. I was trying to explain, some things to my team. I think maybe I can delete this one. Let's see. Okay, so I think this was a class we had in the previous cohorts, and we used Miro to explain how to quickly. I think it was a research session, if I remember. So maybe I might create a new team, because I don't want to really delete any of this. Or I'll migrate that later. So I'm going to just call this UI UX cohort 2. Cool. So let's see if I can do that. Okay, so how can I start for free? Can I start for free? Can I start for free? Okay. So probably this is because I already have some teams created. I'm not sure. Okay, so what I'm going to do, is let's see, create a new. I can't. I'm going to delete, and some of these files are not owned by me. So remember, as I told you earlier, you can only create 3 boards, right? You can only create 3 boards. I'm simply going to use any option here. I think I can delete this one. I don't think I need this again, so I can delete this. Okay. All right. So I am still asked to upgrade. Oh yeah, I have to create a new board. Okay, so I have to create a new team board. Okay. Okay, so I was asked to upgrade because I kept trying to create a project, and I think that was the mistake, right? So you can actually have 3 projects in here. You can actually have 1 project, and I think with 3 boards, right? So I have 1 project, and I just created the 3rd board because I've deleted one of the boards, right? So I clicked on new board, and you see we have a bunch of templates, and we'll be talking about the templates soon. When you click on show all, you see we have a whole lot of templates, and this is one of the major reasons why I love this app, because you have so you want to implement like a mind map, concept map, and with time you get to understand this set of diagrams and when to use them. But you have a bunch of templates that would be of help. I use templates rather than creating everything from scratch all the time. And this tool can be used by designers, engineers, product managers, basically for any kind of collaboration session, because you would probably see a template for your need. You will, I think I would say 80% of the time, see a template that would fit, your use case, right? If you're working, if you're trying to look for templates for agile workflows, for mapping and diagramming, for research and design, right? Yeah, so you would probably see a template that will fit your use case on this app. All right, so let's close this for now. We'll come back to this. I will just open up the Untitled document, which is the new document we just created. And you see you are asked to select a template. Yeah, so you're asked to select a template, but for now, we're not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to explain some of the tools we have around here. So let me edit this file. I'm just going to change the name to Miro tutorial file and description. Okay, a tutorial file teaching cohorts 2.0 class. All right, so you can, of course, let's just go ahead and yeah. So this is saved. This is saved. So you see that I did not really have to click on it, saved automatically. So I just have to, click outside that area to take that off. Now we're on the free version, okay? And the first thing you see here is the settings for this specific board, right? This specific board we're working on. So you have board settings. You can start this board, which is basically going to have this board listed on your list of favorite boards, right? You can make a copy, which to duplicate the board. You can move this to other teams, right, or other projects. You can set a start view, and I'm going to show you setting a start view is basically what you also do in Figma, when you say you right click on a particular item and you right click on a particular artboard and you set that artboard to be a thumbnail. So it's almost similar. The difference here is when you set an item as a start view, you can have multiple things on this page, right? Multiple things scattered everywhere. But whenever you open this file, it's going to start from that particular view, right? And I will show you an example as we proceed, but it's going to always drop you on that particular view, right? So you start from that view. Yeah, and I think it's a very good way to set the entry point of this file, so that when you share this file with maybe your partners or your friends or the clients, once they open this file, they know where to start from and they're able to walk through the page without being lost, in information. So we also have board history. Board history will show you some of the changes you've made over time, and you can always revert to a previous history. And I think you also have similar thing on Figma. And I'm trying to compare these things because I know most of you already have experience working with Figma, so it will be easy for you to understand how they both the features that they both have and the similarities, right? Okay, so I would go back to the settings. Yeah, so that is for the board settings. Of course, you can also delete the board. Then for the preference, you can set your navigation device, whether you want to use a trackpad or you want it to switch automatically when you have a mouse plugged in. You can set if you want to see the grid, or you want it to be dotted grids, or you don't want any grid at all. So it's referring to the grid you're seeing on the screen, right? So if you don't want the grid at all, none takes off the grid, right? And you can have the dotted line. You can also have the dotted grid, sorry, or you can also have the line grid. Okay. And what does it mean to have a snap to grid? Basically, if we don't have this turned on, when we create any item here, maybe like a rectangle, let's just create a shape. So I created a shape, and I'm simply going to set the background of this shape to yellow. So I'm going to explain what I just did though, but let's assume I move this item, click on this, no, sorry, click on this, okay. So let's assume I move this item around. You see, this item is moving freely, right? But with the snap to grid, let's see, let's snap to grid, preference, okay. So when you have the snap to grid turned on, you're able to actually snap this to a specific grid. So you see, just look carefully, it's not touching any grid, but when I drop it here, it will try as much as possible to ensure that it snaps this item to a particular grid, right? So that's the meaning. It's going to try as much as possible to snap this item to a particular grid. Can you see what just happened? So same thing applied here. It just snaps it to that specific grid. So that's basically the functionality in there. Snap to grid. All right. So back to the settings again. Back to preference. We have align objects, which means you can have multiple objects, and these are automatic features that can align these objects. If you don't want those features, you can turn that off, right? Scroll bars, you want to be able to scroll around, yeah, if I turn that off, of course you can still scroll around, but that scroll bar is no longer going to show. So I think I am probably on full screen. Let me take off the full screen and let's see. So you see this scroll bar right here. So you can either turn that on or off. As I zoom in, you see the scroll bar shows up. You can choose to turn that off if you want to. Let's go back again, back to the settings. And yeah, so one object dimension. Let us verify what this would do. So basically, you can always explore. You can always explore and try out some of those things. Of course, I wouldn't be able to explain every single option. But yeah, I think I can also search about this later on and explain this to you. But so object dimensions, I pretty much think this is, yeah, let's take this off. So I think this is, okay, so let's see. I'm going to turn that off. Let's see what we have now. Okay, so I don't think, yeah, so this is one of the features I would have to touch on later. And we'll just proceed without that for now. Okay, so at least you understand that on the preference, you can actually see the preference of the board, right? The board preference, the preference of your navigation, your grids, the objects, the scroll bars, and yeah, we would get down to shortcuts, right? So this is just going to open a page, showing you all the shortcuts you need. So the shortcut for creating a rectangle with arrow, with the oval shapes or the ellipse shape, the line, the pen. Some of these shortcuts are similar to some other tools we used in the past, I believe so. You have this option as well, the select tool and the hand tool, right? And yeah, I can see. Okay, all right. So we have a bunch of other shortcuts, you can use for, of course, copying and pasting. So I am seeing this icon here because I'm using the Mac. On Windows, this should be Control, right? Control plus C, Control plus B, Control plus X to cut, and a bunch of shortcuts that you're familiar with. And this is also what you need to understand as someone in UX. You're designing a tool and you want to embed a shortcut. You see that they are using shortcuts that you are familiar with, and they're not, creating a bunch of shortcuts. Yeah, so they're using shortcuts that you're familiar with because this is how you do copying and pasting, cutting, duplicating in a bunch of tools, right? Selecting all, this is how you do, this is how you perform these operations in a bunch of tools. And they also made sure that, they give you shortcuts that you are definitely familiar with, right? Rectangle, oval, and all of that. So, yeah, so what you just get there is a list of shortcuts that you can play around with, okay? And follow all threads means, as notifications are coming up, you are able to see every single notification popping up. The reason for this is because you can have multiple people collaborating on a file, right? You want to be able to see what has happened, in your absence, right? You don't want to limit the kind of notifications you receive. So you want to be notified about every single reply or interaction happening on this board. Okay, so send to interactive display, you're just trying to send your display, to a different interactive display that is connected to your application or that is connected to your machine. So let us leave that for now. And the profile setting, of course, is to take you down to your profile. You set up the profile of this particular account. So I'm going to close that. Yeah, but I believe you understand, your profile setting, of course. So this is notification, giving you like feeds, what have been happening here. And this option is to export, right? So clicking on export, you can export this as an image, as a PDF. You can export this or save it as a template so you can reuse this later. You can also download a backup, a board backup, right? So which means you're downloading like a previous version, like back in history. And then you can export this into a CSV. You can export this as an embedded, a link that you can then share with a developer or maybe like a team to drop this file inside a web page, right? Or even on Figma, on Notion, for example. So when you drop this as an embed, all you have to do is copy this set of items. You can drop this on Notion, assuming your team is working with Notion, for collaboration. When you drop this into the Notion file, it's going to preview or render this preview inside your Notion. You can also see, yeah, so you understand what I'm trying to say. I can click on this, it has been copied. I can paste this within Notion and it will render this similar to what happens on Figma, right? You can paste a Figma link, in Notion, and it will render that as well. So you can set the width and height, and you can also drop this on your website, right? And yeah, for those of you that will be creating like a case study, for example, right? You can have all your case study implementations here, the user journey map and all those stuff, and then you can copy the iframe file or the link and drop it probably in Notion or on your web page if you have a dedicated website for yourself, right? So we're not going to go into detail on that, but at least you should know that that is possible. Just in case someone on your team is asking, okay, can we embed this on our presentation? Yes, you can. All right, so let us, yeah. So I can see people are in the waiting room and they're not being admitted. Please admit them. Okay, so you can also search, right? You can search for a component, or you can search for an item. So let's see if I search for, okay, so let's see if I have, can I do that? Hello world. I doubt if you can, let's just try this, right? Can we search for a specific, oh yeah, you can, okay. So you can search for a specific, text or objects, right? And you see it took us down to that item. So let us zoom in once again. Let's delete this. Yeah, let's zoom out. Okay, so I think the final thing we have here is what I've explained previously, right? Apps and integration. We don't have to go back there. If you're just joining, I think probably when we're done with the class, you can always rewatch and yeah, see our explanations around apps and integrations. Okay, so what do we have here? Yeah, let's explore this. So basically, these are some of the apps, right? So you see show apps, right? And when I click on this, you can create a timer, you can create a voting session, kind of like a poll, right? Kind of like a poll. Please turn off your camera. For those of you joining, turn off your camera, okay? All right, yeah. So we have like the presentation mode, and presentation mode is basically distraction free. You take off all those items and you can present this to your team, right? Without having, so similar to what you do on Figma when you use the shortcut Control plus dots, right? It will take off every item that can lead to distraction, and then you can preview this properly on the full screen. So this is presentation mode. Let's take off the presentation mode. All right, and yeah, so you can see more apps, right? Video chats, chats. So which means you can have people, you can communicate with your teammates, right, within the application. I've not really explored the video chat option, but this is also impressive. So which means you can probably set up a video chat, and of course this is on the paid plan, but this is really good. Okay, so let's talk about yeah. So this is to show the collaborators cursor. So if you have people on this file working with you, you can see what they're doing. You can also choose to turn it off. Probably you don't want to see their cursor showing around your screen. Yeah, so these are basically reactions. So you can drop, a bunch of reactions, and others would see this. And you can use this during brainstorming sessions. Of course, for fun, you can raise your hand, right? You can raise your hand, and yeah, you can lower your hand, so people can then say, okay, Mark, you want to say something? Go ahead and let's see what you let's see what you have to say. Let's hear what you have to say. You can drop feedback. I think this feedback is basically a Miro. I think Miro feedback, I believe. Yeah, let's leave that for now. Okay, so of course, back to your profile. You can end up sharing this file, right? So you can share this file. You can set the permission levels. Okay, I want the users or the members of this particular board to be able to view, comment, edit, or yeah. So you can do that and probably copy the link and share with others, right? As a matter of fact, you can even put in their email, to share with them via Slack or Gmail. So yeah. All right. So we've been able to explain and touch on some of these options here. Let's talk about. So basically, what you have here is a simple way to zoom. Zoom in and zoom out. Of course, you can do that with your mouse. You can do that with a touchpad as well. Yeah. So I think we're seeing this again. Fit to screen. This is to fit to screen. This is to pin, right? So you can actually pin a specific session, and this is for full screen. All right. So I'm going to take this off because this is asking us to rate the experience with the search option that we just used. The experience was pretty good. I'm not rating for now. Yeah, so this is for our navigation menu. So basically, a lot of people think that these are the only items you have here, but there are more, right? So there are more items. Let's start from here. I won't be able to cover every single one of them, but I believe I'll be able to categorize them and make you understand, what to find within that category. So let's take this off. The first item you see in here is the template option, right? So it's just there. You can always use that template option. Let's assume we're working on, we're trying to come up with a diagram, and we're trying to come up with a diagram for the customer journey. All I have to do is click on use. I can click on preview, to see what this is all about, right? About the template, right? The detail about the template. You see the creator of this template. And yeah, so after looking at that, you can just say use pre-filled or use blank templates. The blank template is basically going to create a blank version of this template for you. A pre-filled template is going to give you sample data within that template. So I just clicked on use pre-filled template, and you can see we have a bunch of detail, showing the user journey, right? The first time user journey, and this is an example, right? And this is pretty impressive. You can just create this and edit this, right? So what was the user's feeling? What was the user step? Step 1, step 2. The important steps, you can append the key sign here to show that these are key steps, down to step 5, and then the user's feeling, the user's thoughts. So we'll get to do this. We'll teach you how to create these maps. We'll have practical examples. So I mean, the classes are getting more interesting with time. So let's take this off for now. So we're able to create a simple template, from the template. Set here, and the next item we have here is to create a bunch of text. So every single object that you create has a certain number of properties, right? So you see, I can adjust the size of this item by simply dragging. I can also adjust from here, right? The font size. I can change the font style or the font face. Yeah. So I can also make this bold. So let's put in some text here. I would say hello world once again. So by selecting this, I can make this bold, right? I can make this italicized. I can make this underlined. These are basic, styles, right? Strike through, to put in that, to simply strike through. Okay, so Control Z. Let's come back to what we have now. We can set alignment, right? So you can align to left, you can align to right, you can align to the center, you can also convert this into a list, an ordered list or an ordered list. You can also convert this into a link, right, to make it clickable. So I can say when you click on this, it goes to https topuniverse.org, right? Apply. So this is a link, and when you click on this link, it's going to open up topuniverse.org right on your browser. So I have that opened up in the browser, right here. So let's go back again. Okay. So I'm going to take off the link. Okay. All right. So you can change the color of this text, right? So these are the properties. You can set an highlight color, that would fill the background of that text. So that's an highlight color. Okay. So this is the font. This is the text color. This is the highlight color. And yeah, this is you can set like the background opacity, like the opacity of that particular text or the particular background. So you see, we can set the opacity of that highlight background. Okay, and you can also add a comment, right? So you jump on a particular file and there's something you're not comfortable with. You can click on it and drop a comment. Okay, why did you use these fonts instead of fonts we have selected design system? Okay, so that's a very simple comment, and I've sent this comment in right now. So of course, someone can reply to your comment similarly to what you have in Figma, right? So and of course, when I say to what you have in Figma, I'm not trying to compare things here. I'm basically trying to just give you like like an example, because I believe most of us already have more experience working with Figma, right? So you have the comment system here as well. and it works, likewise. Okay, so let's dismiss this. Let us delete this comment. Okay, let's just take this back. All right, so what we've been able to do is, create a particular object. These are the elements you can use. And, after creating this, you can, touch the property. You can even lock an item, which means you can no longer drag this item around, right? Until you choose to unlock it. Yeah, so, all right, so we have a bunch of properties here. You can also check those out later. The next thing we have here is your sticky notes. So, you can have multiple sticky notes, and you can write some text on that on the sticky note. So we can say, we are learning to use Miro for first time. If you have any question, please drop them in the chat. Okay, so and of course you can apply some of these properties as well in here. Alignments, right? You see, this is our alignment. Let's zoom in so you can see this better. Okay. So you see, we can apply the alignment options that we have explained previously. You can change the color. You can change the color of the of the sticky notes. Okay, so let's bring back what we had earlier. You can actually show the author of the sticky note on that sticky notes, right? So you can show the author of that note. And what can we do next? Yeah, so you can add a tag. You can add like an emoji, like a reaction kind of. Okay, right, so people can also click on that reaction, and yeah, it makes it very interactive, so people can actually click on this interaction to increase the number of counts on that particular sticky notes. And yeah, you can add a comment, just like what we could do. You can also change the fonts, the type of fonts you're working with, right? And that is it for the sticky notes. Yeah, so the next item is shapes, and we have different shapes, right? We have the rectangle. We have this is the let's see, this is the rounded rectangle shape. Okay. Yeah, so this is the ellipse shape or the oval shape, the triangle, diamond shape. So we have a bunch of shapes, and you can click on all shapes to give you even more shapes, right? So even more shapes, and you can even install more shapes, and that is why I love this. You can install more shapes. So if you are an engineer, for example, you can add more shapes from here. Some of these items are locked though because we're using a free account, but of course you see you have a bunch of shapes for creating UML diagrams, data flow, BPMN, which is basically business process model notations. You have ERD, shapes. So you don't necessarily need to understand every single shape here, but the idea is if you understand the functionality, then definitely you know that you can get to use some of these shapes, right? I know some of these things because I have used them, and hopefully one day you'll get to use them as well, right? And they even give you a bunch of like shapes for of course these are cloud related stuff for engineers, right? So yeah, so your engineering team, you can advise your engineering team, okay, why don't you join us on Miro? Let's collaborate and talk about some processes in here. And they might want to give you excuses like we have our own tool because most of your tools don't have the kind of shapes we use for diagramming. And of course you can tell them, I mean, we have a bunch of those shapes in here, right? So join us, and you can use some of those shapes right on Miro, right? So those are the types of shapes or the extended shapes you can add to your file if you're on the paid plan. All right, so these are a bunch of shapes. I'm going to take this off for now. And next is, yeah, you have the connection lines. So basically, let's assume we have this is an extra sticky notes. Okay, so notes. Okay, so basically you can connect, using these lines, right? So you can connect using these lines. Okay. And we have multiple types. You can connect with, the line with an arrow. Let's do that. So you see, we also have a different type of connector here, right? So you see, we have different type of connector line. So you can play around with it and choose whichever option works for you. We also have the pen tool, and the pen tool has a bunch of customizations. It can work as an highlighter. It can work as an highlighter. It can work for smart drawing, as an eraser. So you can get an eraser from the subset of tools you have here. You can also use the Lasso Tool and then you can set the width of the pen, right? So let's try that with a simple pen tool. You see, this is something quite simple. Let's try to increase the width, right? Okay, so, and eraser, to clean this off, okay? And the highlighter, to highlight items, right? And yeah, so go around and go ahead and play with these stuffs. Go ahead and play with them. Okay, so yeah, so we also have like comments. Of course, I've explained that before, so you can drop a comment, right? Why do you prefer adding emojis? Okay, and then you can just add this comment, so someone else can reply to your comments. You can delete comments, you can add reactions to comments. So it's really interactive, right? It's really fun and interactive. You can also add a frame. So I'm going to take off everything we have so far. Let us add a frame. So let's assume we're trying to come up with a very simple wireframe for a mobile application. You can do that here, right? You can do that here. And then we have a very simple wireframe, a very simple frame for a mobile device. You see, we have multiple examples, right? For browsers, your phone, your tablet, different sizes that you can also adjust, for A4 paper. So you can also adjust the stuff. And I can decide to, add a shape, right? So this is basically how we come up with simple wireframes, right? So you can start playing around with stuff like this for your designs, or for your what do I call it, right? For your low fidelity wireframe. So yeah, you can just play around with this. Okay, so basically we're already trying to come up with a little sketch. Let's delete this for now. Take off the objects as well. And I believe you understand what I'm trying to explain. So by putting those items in the frame, you can actually move everything together because it is bounded by a frame, right? So you can move everything together just like this. Okay. And yeah, you can also upload images. You can upload. So we have what we call web clipper, and I will show you because this is a very important part. I love the functionality here. So using a web clipper, I think I have to install that extension first. Okay. So I probably would have to install that extension on the web or my Chrome, and see the idea. You can take, using the web clipper, you can actually grab a certain portion, of your of that particular page you're working on. Maybe maybe you are on a particular page, you need that page inside Miro. Let's work with an example. So while this is installing, let me show you what that is. We'll get back to that. Okay, I think it's asking. Let's see. All right. So I'm going to click on this. Let's go back. Okay. So I think that was installed successfully. I need to verify that, please. Just a second. Let's see. Install again. Okay, so I think probably this would work if we're on the web dashboard. We'll get back to that. We'll get back to this. Let's see. Let me refresh this page. Okay, so I think we'll probably, okay, yeah, okay. So the reason why it did not show up initially was because that page was already loaded. So so it said it seems that you don't have any Miro account. Oh yeah, so I have to log in on the web. I have to log in on the web, and let me do that. Okay, I have to log in. Okay, so I'm not going to do that on the screen. So I'm going to simply move that to a different screen. Then I'm going to log in. Okay. Okay, so now that I'm logged in, let's see what happens. So you see, I can actually take a screenshot in here, select a particular theme, and then I can say, okay, I want this to appear, take the entire page, right? So click the entire page, And you see, I'm actually able to click the entire page. You know, I'm not the one scrolling, right? It's scrolling on its own, and it's taking a screenshot, or you know, you call this on your mobile a scroll shot. You know, the scrolling is happening automatically, and this page, you know, would be captured, right? If we go back to, let's see. Yeah, let's see where this is going to enter. Okay, so I think I was connected to my team, I believe. Let's see. Let's go back again. I think let's try this again. So it said the screenshot will be saved into your library. Okay, loading teams. Just capture the visible area. Let's see. Okay, so this will be loaded into. I was actually hoping that this would, you know, drop directly into our file, but keeps asking to install and said you haven't saved any clip file yet. Okay, so I'm going to proceed, you know, to check this out from the web. I think maybe I might have to refresh or probably close the application and open that up again. I'm not certain, but you know, the idea is when you take a specific clip, it's going to put that into your library, which means you can click on that item and, you know, have it shown inside that web clipper, you know, list. That did not show up on the desktop application. Probably it's a network problem or so, but let's verify. Let's verify that. So saved files. Okay, so sorry about the speed as well. You know, my network is pretty bad. So it said you don't have any file. Okay. All right, so there's probably an error with this. Probably I would have to check that later. I think maybe I am in the wrong, or this project is not in that specific team, right? That is my assumption. So you know, when I created this, I selected a team, and I need to be sure. So what you can do sometimes is, you know, try to verify. This is currently under the top skill team, right? So yeah, so that was a mistake. So I have to select top skill, and then I have to clip the entire page or maybe a specific area. So you see that the problem was that the image was stored in a different team, right? Because I selected the wrong team at first. So these are some of the mistakes that you make at times. You just have to be sure on how to rectify such issues. So what I would do now is, you know, come back here, go back to the web paper list, and I think I would rather do that on the web again. Let's see. Okay, let's go back to the web again. This time around, I don't know if that would show up in here. Okay, so I'm going to proceed to another thing here. I don't want us to waste too much time on this, but I'm also going to refresh this and, you know, verify why that item is not being saved into that library. Okay, so we'll check this out later. But basically, this is the functionality. So this is meant to be saved into the top skill, you know, workspace or library. So yeah. Okay, so I'm going to proceed. We'll come back to this later on, so we don't waste too much time here. Let me proceed, and I'll try my best to be faster. So you see, we have the yeah, you can upload items from your device, right? Like images, right? You can upload items from your device. I would quickly show you an example. So I'm clicking on pictures. Let's do Einstein. So let's just take a random picture from here. So we have this item, you know, we just uploaded this item inside the Miro. It's still uploaded. Okay, I think it has finished uploading. So you can always, you know, customize this, right? You can crop this as well. but this is basically how to upload your images. You can also drag and drop, right? You can even upload via URLs. So what is an example? What can we upload? I am simply going to click on this video I have open. I'm going to copy that video, and then let's try to paste this in. Let's see what happens. So this is able to, you're able to upload that video, right? So you see I am able to upload that specific video, how to create a LinkedIn slideshow, and then you can expand, the size. You can, increase or reduce the size. So basically you can do that, and you can even play this from here, right? You can click on this, and this file or this video would be played from here. Let me take off the sound.
Hey guys, what's up? Tim Queenie, and today.
Okay. All right. So you see that we can actually clip or embed, YouTube videos just like this. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. So this item was not saved, and yeah, I hope probably the problem is the fact that I'm using a free account. I'm not sure because I've done web clipping before with Miro. So yeah, I will definitely figure that out later. All right, so you can upload items from cloud storages like Dropbox, like OneDrive, like Google Drive. All you have to do is select this option and bring in the file here. Yeah, we also have the wireframing library. So let's assume you want to do wireframing here. You see we have a bunch of sample items like checkboxes, radio, search, drop down, text fields, buttons, links, H1, and you can scroll down to see even more items, right? So you don't have to always create everything from scratch. Profile icons, images, right? Toggle buttons, for on and off states, dialog boxes, right? So you have a bunch of items you can use here, even down to carousel. So you can actually, input your carousel here. And of course, this is wireframing. Let's take off these items. So you're already doing wireframing. So you have a bunch of templates that you can make use of, and this is fun. It's fun to create these items here. You don't necessarily need to do this stuff from scratch anymore. Yeah, and then you even have more tools, right? You can paste an iframe code. You can have a web page capture. This is another example. So I can just put in https://topuniverse.org, and this would capture the entire web page and bring it up here, right? You see it's loading up. It's going to capture this item and bring it in here. Okay, so let's wait for that. It's taking a bit of, oh yeah, okay. So let's assume someone asks you maybe as an assignment, go ahead and re-implement this is the previous website. We want you to bring in that website here and show us some parts where you think more work can be done, because there are some errors on the site, right? You can use a web capture. Something was supposed to show up here. I think it's called Iframe View that did not show up. But basically, you see, you're able to bring this whole item here, and now you can start, doing some sketch. What do you have here? Can you change this? You understand? This item is not so good. So this is just an example, right? So you can use this to communicate with your team and explain stuff. Let's change this item. Let's work on this item. I pretty much don't understand what you mean. This is highlighted, so can you check the highlighted parts and let's figure this out. Some things are not looking so good, and this is just an example, right? I don't want you to go out there to say some things are not looking so good on this website. Yeah, but even if some things are not looking so good, yeah, kindly let us know. So this is just a list of tools you can put in, like a chart, mind map, icon. We have like diagrams, right? Diagramming tools, stickers, So check them out. Check them out. We would love to play around with this tool. I believe that. You can always revert, undo and redo. You have those shortcuts here as well, undo and redo. And basically, yeah, that is a quick overview of what you can do with Miro. Yeah, so we're already. So my navbar, you mean by the navbar is truncated? That's from Jacob. Can you please explain what you mean by that? The navigation. Are you referring to the navigation bar here, or you are referring to the navigation bar within the tool? I want to be sure. Do you have any other questions? Please go ahead and ask your questions, and I'll take your questions from the chats, right? I'm currently looking at the chat, so ask your questions if you have any. So you mean the tools panel. So probably what you can do is, click on this item, navigation bar, and you can have all those items, show up here, right? If that's what you mean. So you can have, you can click on this, to see this set of items. You can also do that for the shapes. So where do we have the shapes? Right here. You can click on all shapes, and then it brings out all the shapes, right? You can do the same for, I think the other item was, this one. So I think I brought out a bunch of diagramming and wireframing shapes as well. So when you click on more, you're able to see some of those items, right? Okay, so do we have any other question, please? Drop your questions as fast as you can. Drop your questions if you have any. All right, guys, so I'm not seeing anyone dropping any questions. So my assumption here is you understood, some of the things I showed you here. Remember, Wireframing Library, you just have to click on this to show you those, options. You can create those things, and you don't have to design them from scratch. So you just reuse them, right? And yeah, so basically, I can't see other questions coming in apart from Jacob's question, and I hope I answered you, Jacob. So I think that should be all for now. If you have more questions, you can always, ask your questions in the Discord room, right? If you have anything to contribute or to add, Amaka or Emanuela, I would leave that for you to do. So yeah, yes, from Jacob, you can use Miro to do wireframes. Yes, you can. So you can actually use Miro to do wireframes, right? That's why you have a bunch of, and I use it a lot, right? I mean, it's faster than I can just, especially when you're collaborating with someone. So we can be on a call, within 30 minutes to 40 minutes, and we can come up with a very fast, wireframe. And I won't say rather than Figma, it's up to you, right? The idea is to ensure that we teach you more than one tool, and it's up to you to decide which option works for you, right? We have a lot of tools you can use for wireframe. I think one of the tools I enjoy using in the past was Blasmic. I think that's what it's called. But after some time, I just enjoyed, the comforts from Miro. So someone is saying couldn't find tools on my page. I don't think I understand what you mean by you couldn't find the tools. If you're just opening Miro, then create a project, then create a board. Once you open the board, you will see those list of tools on the side, on the left. Okay. All right. So we have more questions. Oh, awesome. Okay. Thank you, Kazim. I'm going to stop sharing right now. So since we don't have more questions, I think that should be all for now.